Okay, I want to see if I remember this. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, I think yeah, it's in there. It's in there because we used to have to recite that every day. I don't think California requires it anymore, but most states do. And in elementary school, we used to have to say, and it's kind of crazy thing to pledge allegiance to the country every day. And it tells you that flags are a big deal. Flags in most countries treat flags very seriously, and most nations have laws prohibiting the desecration of a flag. The United States actually is an exception to that, and some people want to push back against that exception. And this week in our Torah reading, we begin the book of Numbers, Bamidbar, and the Torah anticipates all that enthusiasm for flags with its own big flag ceremony. The book of Numbers is a very exciting book with a very not exciting beginning, a lot of sort of details up front, a census, and then an actual kind of mapping of how the tribes are going to camp when they rest in the desert. It says, "V'chanu b'nei Israel ish al machaneu v'ish al diglo." The children of Israel camped each with his division, each under their own flag. And those flags, the Torah says, were ba'otot levet avotam. They were inscribed with the signs of their ancestral home. They had all these symbols on them. The Midrash begins describing the colors and the symbols. And it's very cool. It's like a family crest. It's like Game of Thrones style. So this is the flag as pride and belonging. It signifies history, and it is meant to unify people. But we also know that flags have their sinister side. We know that from the phrase flag waving, right? Which is not a good thing to do. To flag wave is to make a political point that appeals to emotion instead of logic by using some very charged symbol as a way of signaling loyalty or patriotism to the nation, to the party, or to the tribe. You're not really making an argument when you're flag waving. You're just sort of signaling your virtue and summoning the loyalists to your side. The Midrash that I spoke of actually picks up on this danger and says that when the Holy One told Moshe to make these flags, Hitchil Moshe Meitzar Amar Achshav Atida Hamachloket Lehinaten Ben Ashvatim. Moses began to feel distress, and he said, "Oy, now there in the future is going to the future will be full of conflicts between the tribes." So the Midrash has this very kind of keen intuition about the perils of nationalistic fervor and of tribalism. They lead to conflict fundamentally. And that kind of flag waving is not just about saying, we're so great. It's about saying, you're not, you're evil, you're stupid, you're disloyal. Now, I grew up in the Bay Area in a very progressive culture. My people burn flags in protest. I grew up thinking that the flag wavers, they're on the other side, and maybe I still do. I like to think I know who's wrapped in the flag and who's claiming patriotism, who's questioning mine. But lately, our country has started to feel so tribal, so divided into camps that I find myself starting to wonder if we all end up doing our own version of flag waving. That is, flag waving isn't just done with a flag. It can be done with a MAGA hat or a term of insult like social justice warrior, or it can be done with a symbol like an eagle or a slogan like born free. But we have our own symbols on the other side as well, right? Like, when you see a poster with just the earth on it, that's a symbol. Like, I support the earth, right? As if the earth is mine, or we believe in science, right? Which is, that's a slogan that says like, I'm on this team. Now, I have to pause here and say that sometimes I have to be very clear. Sometimes it's really important to say what you believe. And actually, this might be a time, sadly, when it's really important to say that you believe in science. But lately, the slogans that I hear most from our camp are stay at home, exclamation, or stay the bleep at home, wear a mask. My Facebook feed is littered with everybody just stay at home, stay at home, stay at home. And I feel compelled also to pledge my allegiance to that cause. But I just want to ask, who are we talking to? What is the point of these proclamations? Because I don't think that it is to get people to stay at home. I mean, I'll tell you, I do stay at home, but when I read these, there's a part of me that wants to go out. Like, I don't want to, because I don't like being told what to do. Nobody likes to be told what to do. Nobody likes to be told that they're stupid or that they're evil or that they're ruining the country. Now, again, let me be clear. I think that the government has a right to, I think the government should force people to stay at home, to wear masks, to do whatever it takes to stop a public threat. But what is the purpose of us shouting or posting our obvious opinions at each other, even if they're vital and true opinions, when we don't really think that we're taking a political action? We don't really think we're going to convince anyone of anything. What are we doing? I want us to think about that. And I need to think about it also. And it's hard. It's hard to do this kind of self-reflection because, as I said, sometimes we have to speak out. Sometimes the world needs our voice. But sometimes we're just signaling loyalty to our tribe and venting our disdain for the other tribes. And that's not useful. That's just conflicts between the tribes, exactly what Moses feared. The mask is actually a perfect symbol for us. Many of you know, and Rabbi Brous spoke about this, that people most often wear a mask to protect themselves from everybody else's germs. But the primary function of the mask is to protect them from our germs. And there's a lesson in there, right? That this time of crisis is a time we have limited energy, okay? So let's focus on what we can do to help, to protect, to support, to care for the whole, not on what others are doing wrong. Let's not turn our masks into just another flag, just another way of signaling, walking around with our mouths covered but our eyes glaring at the morons who are unmasked. And I am guilty of this. But I need, and I think a lot of us need to remember that the primary purpose of a flag, when it's used right, is to unite us, to help us remember that we're all in this together. We're all in danger. And we're all out here in the wilderness, bunkered down, just trying to survive. So something to think about as we head into L'Chadodi and unite ourselves together in Shabbat on page 23.